our parts came in. It's time to get the exhaust on. But first, what we gotta do, get these covers off and send away for coating. All right, so in order to get the cover off, you have to pull the rear brake off and out of the way. Just bring it back this way. So one thing I like to do, guys, is have a cardboard ready, because these bolts are different lengths. And I do a whole bunch of bikes and I can't remember how long this one was, if it's only a 1/4 inch difference. How do you know? So we write on here, we're gonna write the clutch, cover, and we know that there's a bolt there, a bolt there. There's 6 of them total on this one. In that pattern. We're gonna poke holes, and when the bolt comes out, it goes in that hole. The reason we write on it is so we don't spin it around. So we know that that's up. Perfect. Since we have the clutch cover off, we're just taking a quick look. I don't want to pull the whole clutch assembly. It would only take a second, but we don't need to. We're looking here at the basket. Let me get this knife so I can show you. The basket on this bike has either been replaced before, because it is smooth. There is no, like, I can't even feel any notches. This bike is a good bike, actually, motor-wise. This one's in real good shape. So here's the O-ring that came off, and it's actually broke in 2 pieces. The new O-ring actually has a little bit of a crest to it. So that's why it broke. It broke right on that seam line, the old one. But there's the brand new OEM one we were waiting for. There we go. We just put a little bit of O-ring lube on our O-ring. Check for any debris. Everything's good. We're just gonna slide it on. Perfect. We gotta get the seat and the side cover off so we can start mounting the pipe and silencer. Hopefully for the last time. The old beat up FMF pipe with the holes. We're not using this. We were gonna try and fix it, but I don't want that. That's horrible. And I just don't know what to do with it. To be honest, it's really bad. So we got a full FMF system that we're gonna have to figure out something with at some point. What we are gonna put on is, I happen to get really lucky. So you cannot find a pipe for a 2002. 2000, 2001 CRs, same system. 2002, its own system. 2003, 2004, different system. And then 5 to 07, another system again. So we found a pipe in really good shape. It's a Pro Circuit platinum pipe. It's not a Works, obviously, but it's the platinum pipe Pro Circuit. It's got a dent, one minor dent where it's clipped out and scratched off the a little bit of the nickel, I guess, the chrome plating. So it's in good shape. So this is what's going on the bike. It is missing a little bit of the coating here. You can see it. Yeah. But 2002, it's impossible to find. And a brand new Pro Circuit shorty. So let's get that on there. I don't know if you guys have one. If you don't, you should get one. But it's an exhaust spring puller. The needle nose way, it sucks. The exhaust spring puller is the way to go. Takes 2 seconds. They're not slipping out of the needle nose. You're not fighting it all day. That baby's on there. So we're going to take apart the Kickstarter. Yeah, it's got a little wobble to it. We're going to take it apart, clean the inside, and repack it with grease so that it'll eat up some of that wobble. This should be done as regular maintenance. Now it's like the brake lever from a rear brake video. Nobody ever does it, and that's the problem. They get wore out. We're going to use the impact driver, put it in, turn towards the way we want to release it, and hit it with the hammer. I'll put a rag over it so it don't bang so hard. There we go. Broke it free. Ball bearing. Look at that. That's supposed to be grease, not a hard layer of like rubber. Yep. So there's a small seal that goes in the bottom here, and we're going to clean up all these parts. We got our Kickstarter in the soft jaws. We're going to try and take off some of these burrs. That's a lot better. Now we're just going to take some Scotch-Brite, some fine Scotch-Brite, and try and polish it up a bit. Blending it back together. Perfect. Just want to make sure where that seal goes. I'm going to get all the debris out of it. Yeah, that's good. Now time to clean this up. I'll put it back in the vise. So now we're going to pack the inside here with grease, like an excessive amount. The reason I put an excessive amount in is that so it gets in all the little crevices. Then I can clean off the excess. So we're just booping it in there. Put a little extra in for you guys so you can see me do it. Just pushing it in. Just like that. So now, a little spring, wipe it off. It goes in the hole first, then the ball So what we're gonna do, put a little grease on there, not to make it slippery, but to help us hold the ball. We don't want to lose the ball. So then it's jammed in, now it won't fall out. When we first took it took off rolling. Had to catch it. So then, like all seals, there's a double ring on one side. That side goes in. A little grease on it, even though there's a lot of grease there. Push it into the ring where it's supposed to go. Which goes in there. We take this. I want to make sure it's the right way. Just like that. And the excess comes shooting out where the bolt's got to go in. Set that to tighten. Snug it up. Done. Excess grease comes shooting out the holes. Simply wipe it off. Perfect. Install the Kickstarter. Another bolt. That's good. Doesn't hit the pipe anymore. Yeah, that's where it goes.
Never really know just what you want. With you, I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palm. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever want to give me wings. You don't ever want.
So all the covers are back from powder coating. It turned out pretty good. Look really good. You know. RC valve looks good. They'll look really good on the bike. So we're gonna put a little bit of grease just around here to help us hold the gasket on. Just very light. We'll line up our gasket, sort of. Perfect.
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you, I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing.
So we swapped out the hardware for new hardware. We went through and sized each bolt that came out and put new ones back in the pattern that we made. So we know exactly where they go. So the links are right so that we don't end up threading the wrong bolt into the wrong hole. You gotta be really careful with these aluminum cases, especially magnesium cases and stuff like that. You don't want to strip out the threads. So you want to make sure that the bolt is the right bolt for the right size hole. As well, on the cover that's going on, same cover, but the gasket, you want to make sure the gasket's in good shape. We replaced ours because we bought a whole kit and it came with the gasket. So we might as well replace it. I have no need to keep an extra gasket, just a gasket around. So we'll put a little bit of grease in there just to help it seal and mate to the surface. Make sure the surface is really clean. You don't want any debris or anything like that on there so that it gets a good mating surface. Just take our grease a little bit. We'll just help us lubricate this. A little bit of grease down in there is not gonna hurt anything. It's a wet clutch system. Like I'm barely going over it. You guys can see, like you can barely see the grease. I can see it, I don't know if you guys can. Just enough to make it sticky and let it stick so it doesn't fall out while I'm trying to put it on. And we'll put our cover on top. We'll start with taking bolts out. Take this long one. put her in. I like to put all my covers on by hand. I don't like to use an impact. That's for sure. We'll put the other long one in. Goes down here. Be really careful not to over tighten these bolts. Like I said, it's just aluminum they're going into. We don't want to strip it. Just snugging them up for right now. We'll go back around and tighten them up. Just barely any pressure. Just feeling if they're spinning. They're in there. Perfect. When it comes to changing your oils, guys, I like this Motul stuff. It seems to work pretty good. So just 1040 is all I run in my bikes. Some guys run different gear weights and stuff like that. I don't. I just run the 1040. But the biggest thing is this is really good transmission oil, but to make sure it's safe for a wet clutch. That's the big thing. This stuff is. It seems to be pretty affordable and of high quality. That's the key. It's just not going down to the, local store and grabbing some normal 1040 off the shelf, because you want for the off-road because of the heat and the stuff that it's doing. So on the Hondas, we've got this little guide bolt. We're gonna take it out. And basically, if your bike's level, it's not twisted. We want it to sit flat, not one way or the other. And we're gonna fill our oil. It's roughly, I think on a new build, it's like 850 milliliters. On an existing motor, basically if you haven't had the covers off or the motor split, it's like 750. And that's roughly what it is. So I keep an eye on the bottles as I'm pouring them. But as soon as it starts coming out of the overflow hole into our drain bucket, we know it's full. Get the kickstarter out of the way. Get the cap off. I've got an open one, so I'm going to use it up. And then go to another new one. And we'll just start pouring it in. Don't try and pour it all funny, you know what I mean? Just pour it in. There it goes. Starting to leak out now. Perfect. It's just draining out, and that's what we want. Just getting rid of the overflow. So another thing that's important, guys, is these bolts that we take out of the drain holes. Well, they have, separate it here, little washers. These washers are copper or brass, and they need to be replaced. This one's dished a little bit from being used. It's probably 20 years old, but we got new ones, so we're gonna swap it out. So we got a brand new one. Put it on our bolt. Bolt back in. We'll just snug it up. Not too tight. We don't want to strip it. Just snug. And a little bit like snug, and then a little The motor doesn't need race fuel, like T2 race fuel. Why I like to run, it's expensive. It's ridiculous expensive. I wish somebody could make fuel cheaper, but they can't, or they don't want to. Doesn't matter. The reason I run it is there is no ethanol in this fuel. Well, so they tell me. And it has a little bit of lead in it. So it's leaded fuel. It's great for a two-stroke, seems to help it out. My bikes don't blow up. It's already pre-mixed, 40-1. So that's why I run it. I don't care if it's VP, Klotz, whoever, doesn't matter. I buy this because it's easy to get where I live. If somebody else knows a better place that's local, that sells good fuel, let me know. But no ethanol. And I hate trying to pour them out of these metal jugs. So I bought the electric pump thing. So we're gonna use that. This stuff's like 10 bucks a liter. So we're definitely not filling up this bike if we're gonna sell it. We're only just gonna put a little bit of fuel in it. No sense letting it go bad in the bike. It's gonna sit. Nice thing about these pumps though, if you were just filling your bike, it will just shut off once it hits the thing, just like a gas station. So you never overfill your bike. At 10 bucks a liter, you don't want to spill it.
Borders, now we ain't getting posterized. We out here making posters and we ain't got nothing to hide. We move forward like soldiers. You better wake up for the pay stub or you'll pay up. Don't make love to the game, bruh. Fuck the game up. Change up, rearrange stuff to your greatness. Famous for the way up. Play the game, bruh.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it.
So the O2's all done. Just ready to start up. Everything's back together. Got some oil in it. Just time to ride it. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. And we'll see you in the next one, the startup video.
With pain, she like to hurt me and maim. I'm always working to change, but she's still lurking the same. I keep on building a dynasty while the